Hello, this is Walking Testimony. Today I wanted to talk about angels and angelic visits, but also not just about angelic visits, but also I believe that there are agents of the enemy that try to keep you from your life's purpose. Now, I'm going to talk about both experiences I've had. The first one, I was in my 20s, I wasn't saved. I was very rebellious and doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have. I had a couple of traumatizing things happen to me that are very personal that I don't want to share with you, but I believe that opened doors in my life when I was not living with God, not walking with God, not doing righteous things. Well, I'll tell you one of the stories. And this was not about angels. I believe that this was an agent of the enemy trying to keep me from God's purpose in my life. Well, when I was in my 20s and I was in college, there was a young man that I was smitten with, and he was not, he was a good guy. I mean, I was very much in love with him, but he was an athlete in college, and you know how that goes. Or I don't know if all athletes, but from my past experience, a lot of athletes are not the most loyal boyfriends. Well, so a lot of my friends didn't approve of me seeing him because they didn't think he was good for me because of the things he's done. But anyways, so the story is one day after I was leaving his house, there was a girl that was getting kicked out of her apartment. It was one of his neighbors. This girl, she called herself Kayla, but her name was Barbara, but I don't even know her last name. And back then I was very naive and very willing to like take in people, and I was like, oh yeah, come live with me. She was getting kicked out. I was like, and she was just being really nice to me and said all the things that I wanted to hear at that time because nobody else was supporting my relationship. And she's like, oh yeah, you guys make such a good couple. You guys are so cute together, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, well, if you don't have a place to go, you come live with me. I didn't think about, what kind of person she was, why she was getting kicked out, anything to do with their past. Of course, thank goodness that everything worked out, that I was delivered out of that situation. Well, I came and had her live with me, and she did nothing but cause problems with me. And everything that she said to me was, it wasn't good advice. So she had tried to get me to do a couple things that I would have opened doorways to things that I should not have opened doorways to if I had listened to her. Thank goodness. I believe God's grace kept me from those things. But I did find out, and I do have and I believe this is discernment. Even back then that I had a discernment feeling, and I overlooked it because I was like, oh, I didn't believe in those things. I didn't understand those things, and I had a lot of red flags with her of discernment that I need to stay away from her, and I didn't listen to her red flags. Thank goodness God took her out of the situation, took her out of the picture. But one of the things that she had said to me was one of the red flags was she had 3 children. One was living with her mother, and she did not, and I would take her over to see her son, and I didn't know that she wasn't allowed to see him, but her mom let her see him anyways because he wanted to see his mother. And I remember, I would say, why don't you bring him something, when you go see him, bring him a present or whatever. And, it was like I had to talk her into seeing her son, and that she was only doing it to please me. And so I would go to the store and we'd buy toys or whatever, and, it would be, here, this is from your mom. And so the fact that she wasn't allowed to see her son was kind of a red flag. But not just that, but the fact that she had 2 other children. The first one was she gave up for adoption, or was taken away. I don't remember. That's the thing. A lot of her stories never added up, and I never really knew much about her past. And the other one was she had a baby that was a suspicious death. Her baby died as an infant, and it was suspicious. And I believe that's why she was not allowed to see her son at that current time. Now, after much praying and spending time with God, I realized that I don't think she was, if she was a human person or if she was a person, that she was a very good person. I think she was very dangerous, and I don't even like talking about her because it was just really, I believe if she had stayed in my life, things would not be very good. So I believe she was a dangerous person. I believe she wasn't a good person. I believe she was very dark inside. I don't know if she was a demon but she was not a good person. So I'll just leave it at that. So that's my negative experience. My positive experience was, and this one I know I don't know if she's an angel, but I believe she was, just the way it just happened. So when I was going through all the stuff with my husband, when we almost got divorced, I didn't know who to turn to, but I knew that I had to pray. So I prayed to God in the morning, and I believe that if I hadn't met this woman, my life, I believe that this was a turning point in my life that made things work out, and I believe this is divine help from God. So the morning before I met her, it's a church by my work, and I always go for a walk to this particular church and I started going to it for a little bit, but my job is far away from where I live, so it's just a lot of gas money and a lot of stuff, so I don't go to that church anymore. And then and there's other reasons why I don't go to that church, but I mean, nothing against the church. It was a wonderful church, just it wasn't the one for me. It wasn't my home, my place. But let me go back. I'm sorry, I stumbled on what I was saying. So the morning before I met her, I was devastated. I was crying. It'd been a week after my husband told me he left me, and I was at home by myself, and I was crying, and I was begging for God and to help me, and to send helpers, to send divine helpers. God send divine helpers. I mean, there was this particular prayer that I had prayed online, which I believe that prayer, God used that prayer, or the man of God, that was sent from me from God, and I said this prayer and it saved my marriage. But he had another prayer about angelic help, ask God for divine helpers. So I believe that God answered my prayer, because that prayer was literally answered that afternoon. So I said the prayer in the morning, and that afternoon, it was around lunchtime, she was walking, and I don't know what came over me, because I'm not the one to come to strangers, and I broke into tears, and I said, "Can you help me? Can you help me?" And I told her what was going on. I said, if someone stops loving you, can they love you again? And then I don't remember exactly what she said to me, but she said, you need to turn to God, and you need to pray to God, and you need to go to God. And so it's like she said the right things and did the right things, and I did what she said, and she helped me a lot. I mean, she told me there's a 40-day challenge, the movie Fireproof, with Kirk Cameron. I did that, and that really helped. I did everything that followed, and I prayed every day, and it changed my marriage. Also prayer and fasting and everything too. I'm not saying that was the only thing, but I'm saying all of it just seemed to work together. But she would have lunch with me, and she would always encourage me, and I had never had a spiritual mentor in my life like that. But the thing that I wanted to share, why I think she was angelic, is because I had her phone number and email, but then after my marriage got restored 6 months later, after everything got restored, everything went away, she said she had to leave, she had to move, and I lost contact with her. So I wonder if she was on assignment to help me restore my marriage, and then she had to go wherever she goes. Now, I'm not saying she was an angel herself, but I mean, I wonder if if God worked through her. Well, I mean, I'm saying He did work through her, because she did help me, but I'm saying sometimes I wonder if she was an angelic helper, because I had prayed that prayer, and it got answered that afternoon, and it changed my life. Anyways, it was an amazing experience. I mean, having spent time with her and talking, and then it's like she said the right things and did the right things. So I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.